a lot of people see you, Ed, and they see a really successful guy, a guy that's in shape, that's kind of a master of his domain. And, then when you say happiness, they might think, well, I'd expect Sadhguru to say that or Joe Dispenza to say that. But for you, you think we can all have happiness now. And I find that really interesting. I also find it juxtaposed with your social media following. You're massive on social, Ed, and you're, in this space, over 2 million followers on Instagram. And that's the place where I find most people go to get unhappy, because they're bombarded with people that are always doing something better to them. I always tell my members of my academy, there's always someone out there that's better looking than you, has a better looking wife, has a bigger car, has a this and a that. And because of technology, we're plugged into this comparison platform. How do you get those things in your head? Again, this technology is a new thing, really. And yet it seems to sometimes make us unhappier. So just curious what your read is on that.
Well, I think I talk about happiness a lot because first off, it's what everybody wants. We think we want the car, but really it's how the car will make us feel. We think that car will make us happy. We want the jet. We want the relationship because of what we think. We want those emotions. And so I think I talk about it a lot because I've sought it out all my life. And when I was young, I really was that person that thought, I call it blissful dissatisfaction is the way that you should live, is which that you can live blissfully now and still be dissatisfied. People conflate those things and they think, well, if I'm unhappy, I'm also, if I allow myself to be happy, I'll lose all my drive. You can be simultaneously dissatisfied with where you are and still blissful. And I never understood that when I was young. And so I think you're asking me how old I was before we started. I think one of the reasons maybe I look a little bit older was the stress I put myself under as a young man, delaying bliss until a particular destination. And every time I'd get there, I'd move the goalpost more and more, and I was never happy. And it finally occurred to me, I had a couple different incidents take place, but it just finally occurred to me that I can be happy in myself now. And really what it comes down to is it sounds corny from a big entrepreneur guy, but it's accepting and loving yourself as you are, but not accepting and loving the destination you're at. So I love the man I am at any place, but I'm not dissatisfied with I am dissatisfied with my location. Even to this day, I want to improve. I want to grow. Sometimes I think it's a disease or an illness of mine, but I've learned to enjoy myself as I'm growing, as I'm improving, as I'm moving to the next level. And social media is absolutely that place. I have to guard against it. Oh, wow, Gary Vee had 17,000 comments on that post. Mine did that. I struggle with that stuff. All comparison is a formula for misery. All comparison. And what often we do, Brian, is one of the most insidious forms of comparison is comparison to our former self. So if we're not in that relationship anymore that we wish we were still in, we compare. Or maybe the relationship we're in, we compare to the 6th week when it was blissful and we were getting to know each other. Now we're in the 6th year and we compare to what it was then to now, and it's not the same, and that hurts us. Or we lament a decision we've made. I'm really become good at not comparing me to former versions of me or to other people that I see. That is something that has brought me great joy that I didn't have when I was younger.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that comparison is the most dangerous thing. There's a lot of people say, stay away from this and stay away from that. But that must take a lot of mental discipline to catch yourself when you're comparing, because we're probably doing it hundreds or thousands of times a day.
I literally catch myself doing it and I go, scratch it. I'm not kidding. I go, scratch it. And I'm old enough that I can picture a record or a DVD player literally being scratched. I don't want it to even be in my unconscious, my subconscious mind where it comes back, because all misery's a comparison. And we may not realize it. We're not really that upset with where we are. What we are is what happens is we compare it to where we think we should be. And that very comparison is what brings us misery. We're happy to be breathing. We're happy to be alive. We're happy we woke up. It's the immediate comparison to what could be, used to be, should be, or somebody else's does that brings us the sadness, the angst, the anxiety, the worry, the frustration is always comparison. And I would encourage everybody to evaluate this. The next time you feel these negative emotions you don't want, all the ones I just listed, you're comparing to something you don't have, or a place you are not, or someone else's life every single time.